your results in this life are tied back to who you say you are every morning. And so clearly, right off the bat, I'm telling you, I'm a loving person. And so that is my idea. I'm a loving person. I'm a loving father. I'm a loving husband. I am a lover of people. Well, when I'm telling myself that every single day, I mean, that's my identity. What do you think I'm going to do all day long? What do you think the results are going to be? The results are going to be love. I'm going to leave it everywhere, clues everywhere. And John Maxwell made it real clear, the leader is the lid of the business. And so I either need to improve myself every single day, or I need to get out of the way.
Austin Community Capital. This show is a celebration of the spirit of Austin, Texas, honoring our past, engaging our present, and building our future together. Although it's not the last time.
Schuyler, I'm really excited to be chatting with you today. I know you as a man on a mission. And you're one of the most intentional guys I know, and I'm excited for people to get to know you today. Thanks for being here.
Oh, I'm fired up. I'm grateful to be asked to be here.
Well, let me start with part of my intro. What's your mission?
My mission in life?
Your mission in life.
Well, I'm trying to build the kingdom, baby. So, listen, I want to be a great father. I want to be a great husband. I want to be a great business owner. And ultimately, I want to bring people to Jesus. I mean, I live my life intentionally in trying to just pour love into every person that's around me, and it it's all for a spiritual award that I hope to win one day.
Man, that's a beautiful mission. What form does that take on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis? Building the kingdom, pouring into people the way you are talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I really think I could keep it simple with just love. I want my children when they wake up to know how much their father loves them. When my wife wakes up, I want her to know how much I love her and I'm grateful for her. When I go into work, I want my people to know how much I love them and I'm grateful for them. Honestly, I love you. I love everything that you're doing here. And I just know that if I just approach everything with love, I know that reality of what I'm after, it'll just come to fruition, because I truly believe what we're here to do is to love our God and love his children. And if you can see the world in that way, it's a beautiful place. I mean, and you just go and be a great person. So it's not super anything, nothing complicated. I just wake up and I try to love all and everybody.
What are the fundamentals of loving others, would you say? Like, how does one go about that?
I mean, I think first when you wake up in the morning, you've got to train yourself to not think about what you're going to get, to think about what you're going to give the world. And so to the extent that you can wake up every morning and you can say, I can't wait to deliver this to the world, I think you're in the right position from a service standpoint to deliver love. But I will say this, you will have a very hard time being loving to others if you don't love yourself. And there are things that you need to do every day to just make sure that you are being a person that you love, so that you love who you are, and then you'll be much more capable to go love everyone around you. I mean, it's just so important. And I think a lot of people skip that step. They either don't slow down enough to say, yeah, I kind of love that about myself. Or slow down enough to say, well, who do I need to be so that I can love who I am? And I think that's all tied into your identity. And last year, I penciled kind of a framework. None of this is new stuff, but identity is one of the most important things that you can be clear about, because your identity shapes your mindset, and your mindset shapes your actions, and your actions produce your results. So your results in this life are tied back to who you say you are every morning. And so clearly, right off the bat, I'm telling you, I'm a loving person. And so that is my idea. I'm a loving person. I'm a loving father. I'm a loving husband. I am a lover of people. Well, when I'm telling myself that every single day, I mean, that's my identity. What do you think I'm going to do all day long? What do you think the results are going to be? The results are going to be love. I'm going to leave it everywhere, clues everywhere. But I'm also, I'm producing, business. Also, I have all these bits of who I say I am and being that identity. But it really does come down to being a loving person first.
And you touched on loving yourself. What does that look like for you? Are there rhythms that help with that? Give us a picture of that.
Yeah, I have a morning routine that I think puts me in a position to be the most steady leader I can be, for not only to lead myself, but also lead all those around me, to include my family. And to me, it's all about the morning. So the first thing you got to do is make healthy decisions at night, right? There's certainly some things that we can partake in as adults that will disrupt our morning, right?
Is that like a way to put that?
Yeah.
Like that?
Yeah. Well, you got to make good choices. If you want excellence, you got to achieve excellence in everything. So that starts the night before, right? Be responsible the night before. Then you wake up and you can be motivated right off the bat. And so for me, my morning routine looks like coffee, because I get up super early and nobody normal can wake up as early as I do without coffee. So I'll have a cup of coffee and I'll read my Bible. And I read my Bible for like 30 minutes and then I'll pray. After I'm done praying, and I have a long list of people that I pray for, gratitude that I have, and then, obviously things that I desire in my life, so I pray for all those things. Then I read in my business book, and I read nothing but nonfiction, and I'm reading to solve problems in my business. So right now we're trying to stand up a client success division in our business. And so I'm reading a bunch of client success books. So it may not be fun for some people to read that kind of stuff.
Oh, man, I nerd out on that stuff. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, but I crave answers, right? And I'm not one to sit back and let answers come to me. People have solved these problems before. So I just look at the best and I say, okay, well, you've produced some content. I'm going to go consume that content in an effort to duplicate at least your model, so I can answer a problem that I have. I love to innovate. So I'll innovate on top of the model, but I'm after your model first to know I'm going to reach a certain measure of success before I do anything else. And so I'll read that business book, and then I'll journal. But the way that I journal is I just journal on LinkedIn. So I'll post on LinkedIn kind of my ahas for that morning reading. And I've got this kind of expectation that my team reads it, because I want my team to know what I'm thinking about. And they may not read the book, but they'll at least read my daily journal posts, and they'll consume the book through my journal posts. And then I'll go exercise. I like to weight lift. So I'll lift weights, and more times than not, my son comes down and works out with me. So some good father-son time. And then I pray one more time, because I'm just grateful that I have a body that can move and lift weights. And so I'll just pray one more time, a prayer of gratitude for the morning that I had, and then to just empower me for the day. And I think it sounds like a lot. It is a lot. It takes me 2+ hours to do all of that. But just consider, after you've done that every morning for years, the momentum that you have and the health that you have physically, spiritually, and mentally. When I do those things in the morning, I'm completely prepared to love others, to love my life, and, ultimately love myself, to understand how to respect myself and respect the gifts that God's given me, and, the opportunities I have in front of me. I mean, so that morning time is really the special time for me when you talk about teeing myself up for, just love, Yeah.
Yeah. There's been a lot of writing about the significance of how you start your day. I think of, the title Miracle Morning.
Yeah.
Like, so much starts on what we put into motion what we're thinking, what we're feeling, what we're choosing to do or choosing not to do.
Yeah.
In the case of maybe staying in bed.
Yep.
So I love that intentionality.
Yeah. I mean, credit the book for giving me a reason to go model a morning routine. I read that book and I was like, well, there's a whole book about a morning routine model. And so I didn't just take Hal Elrod's model and just say, well, that's mine. I said, great model. Let's reach physical, mental, and spiritual health every morning. Well, here's what I want to do. And then so I made it my own, right? Perfect example of taking a book and the model from the book and then innovating on top of it that meets my uniques.
I love that. And I love how curiously and with a hunger you're consuming information that directly applies to what you're up to.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I take my role as leader very seriously. Leader of my household, leader at church, leader in my business. I don't take that title lightly. And John Maxwell made it real clear, the leader is the lid of the business. And so I either need to improve myself every single day or I need to get out of the way. Both are okay answers, by the way. Some of the best leadership decisions of the world is I need to get out of the way and hire someone more talented in this part of business to come take over. But I can tell you that time will come for me one day, not because I didn't push myself every day. I'm going to push myself every day because I am hungry. I'm hungry to be better every day. I want my children to look at my life one day and say, Dadgum, Dad was after excellence. Like he may not have achieved, a whole lot, but like that dude was after excellence. And he modeled it for us. I mean, I know they're watching. I'm trying to give them all I got.
I love that. I love that your son's joining you, Jim. You mentioned family a bunch of times. Introduce your family to us. Give us a picture of each of your family members.
Yep. Kristen and I, Kristen's my wife. We've been married for 20 years now, since last December. We have 2 kids. We have a 12-year-old daughter, Bo, and we have an 8-year-old son, Rhett, and we're foster parents. So from time to time, we'll have a third child with us. We've had, maybe close to 24 kids come in through our house so far in our foster journey. I think the longest we've ever had a child stay with us was 9 months, and the shortest was 2 days. So, and everybody is curious about the ages. I will say this, we had this range that we said was okay, which is basically 6 to 10. But we've had kids anywhere from 3 years old to 15 in the house.
Wow.
So we, so that's where we don't have any pets or anything like that. My parents, live in the area, and then I have 2 brothers. One's in West Texas and one is in Florida.
Okay, the stonemason sent a PDF. The plumber wants a check. Wait, who is Dave on Venmo? Is that the woodworker or the tool rental? Oh my gosh. Stop playing forensic accountant with your own renovation. With Loyal, you get one consolidated invoice. We manage the vendors and the paperwork. One bill, 0 confusion. Loyal Home Concierge.
That's so cool. And what an amazing environment for the kids to be in, of seeing you and Kristen welcome children in during a transitional season in their life and having a sibling for a little bit. And that'd be so powerful for kids to see. Tell us something about each of your kids that's unique to the season of life they're in right now. Something they're into, something they're doing.
Well, I'll start with my son. He is a reader unlike I've ever seen another child ever. He just consumes books. And it's not nonfiction like his father. I mean, he's reading fiction. But he's just so hungry for it. When we sit at the table as a family to eat, we have to tell him to put his book away so that he'll talk to us, because he brings his book to the dinner table.
Well, thank God it's that, not a phone. That's a blessing.
Yeah, I mean, he would bring the phone if we let him. I mean, it affects him just like it does any other kid. But we put limits on it, right? Boundaries on everything. But I call him my creator. I believe one day he's going to create. He loves to draw out comics. He loves to tinker and build things. He loves like arts and crafts at school. He's a wizard with math in his head. He's truly an extraordinary child. I call his brain a Ferrari. My daughter is the most joy-filled person I've ever met.
Wow.
When I wake her up, she looks up and immediately smiles like, "Hey, Daddy." And she's 12, man. Like, she's almost a teenager. And so I don't take these times lightly. I know a reckoning might be coming, but she had some hard times at school not too long ago where some of her best friends were being pretty tough with her, kind of cutting her out and making her not feel included, and it maybe being a little hurtful in their words. And she tells you this stuff, and you go, "Well, are you okay, baby?" And I kid you not, this is her response: "Dad, I think they're just having a hard time, but it's okay. They'll be better."
Wow.
And
Sure.
yeah, and so maturity, or just, literally, they say darkness is the absence of light. There is no absence of light in her. And so I think it's super hard for darkness to get in because she just is so full of light. That during that same time, she was sitting there writing cards, and we're like, "Oh, what are you doing, babe?" And she's like, "I'm writing some cards for my friends." And we go, "Oh, well, who?" And it was the ones that were being nasty for her.
Wow.
She was just writing little cards of gratitude and how much she loved those kids. And you would think, like, that'd be the last person a child wants to go and write a card to. But she's a living example of how we should live our life. She really is. And I don't get to take credit for teaching her that. I'm not that person. I'm just like anybody else. If I'm hurt by someone, I at a minimum avoid them, because I don't want to be hurt again. She's literally leaning into it to try to make their day better.
Wow.
It's wild. And so I call her my connector. Now, the gift that she hasn't necessarily honed in yet is her ability to go to school, be prepared, execute extremely well. My son, he does his homework in the van on the way home. My daughter, you gotta bend a finger back to get her to do anything. So when I talked to her about maybe her future, I'm like, "Babe, there's this thing. There's a profession called therapist out there, and let me tell you about what they do. They go to school and they learn, right? But then they walk into rooms with people and they help them feel better just by talking." I was like, "That sounds really good, doesn't it?" I'm trying to mold her into something like that, because it is her gift. It is truly her gift. At your age now and her age now, if you were having a bad day, she would make you feel better. There's no doubt in my mind. Now it might be 12-year-old to you, but she would make you feel better, because she would pour her joy into you, and it would just feel good. So.
Well, two amazing presences to have in the house. I think it's a surprising delight to be able to derive inspiration from a child. I'm getting inspiration from, what your kids are up to and how your daughter is treating people that maybe even aren't the nicest to her.
Children really can teach us so much because they don't have the battle scars we have. And so they approach their relationships, they approach their business, they approach the world all heart and in all curiosity. And it's like, man, what a beautiful life to live all heart and curiosity. Wouldn't that be awesome? I'll tell you a quick story. One one of our foster children was a 3-year-old little girl with Down syndrome. And we were so scared when we said yes to her because we never had anyone with a disability. And I do the quotes now, and you'll understand how I feel about it in the future. But we were taking a child who couldn't communicate well and had a mental disability into our house, who was picked up from her parents who were both using meth, who were both in a homeless encampment.
Wow.
For how long? We have no idea, right? And so she came to our house, and the very first thing, so she came pretty late, right? She came at like 12:30 in the morning, and a lot of times that's kind of how kids come. They just come in the middle of the night because nothing good happens in the middle of the night, right? And so she comes to our house, and you know, I'm dad, so I'm going to take her to bed. I mean, the first thing she does is just 2-arm hug me with like the most sweetest hug you could ever get from a little girl. And I carry her upstairs, and it's like the sweetest thing ever. I lay her down. She goes to bed beautifully. She sleeps in. Night 1, awesome success, right? The next morning, she wakes up, and again, a lot like my daughter, but like can't communicate it, and in Down syndrome, the sweetest demeanor, the sweetest energy, fun, loving, just excited to be a part of our family. Zero trauma response.
Wow.
Most of the children that come into our house have been through, and she had been through some pretty severe trauma and neglect. They have big battle scars from the trauma that they've gone through. And it takes a lot of effort and time to connect with them so that they feel safe. And then you can start to form a relationship right away with her, right away. Like just love and attachment, and she just was there for it. And I think, like, who has a disability, right? Does that little girl have a disability, or does my brain have a disability, and then I can't live my life like her? And it, you know, as I thought about our time with her, it was such a beautiful experience for me because I want to live my life that way. I want to get past my scars, my experiences in life, so that I could live a life full of heart and curiosity like that little girl. And life beats it out of us, man. I mean, you know, life just beats it out of us. But she was, I will never forget. We had her for 3 days. I will never forget her for the remainder of my life because of that lesson she taught me.
Man,
It's so good.
that's beautiful. And I think you're reminding me of how much I love seeing a childlike spirit in adults.
Yeah.
Because I think it's possible. I think you have a childlike spirit. You know, I mean, I'm seeing it now, like the way you're delighting in your family and these experiences and sharing anecdotes about your son, you know, in the gym. And so what a beautiful reminder that you got through that little girl.
Thanks, man. I think your audience that looks at my background, they'll know that, you know, I served in a couple of conflicts, and you know, and I had to fight. And it's not that Schuyler couldn't go out and fight. Like, I could still go out and fight. I've got the fighter inside me, but I don't want to anymore. You know, I don't want to feel that way anymore. And so I work really hard to be the way that you see me today. You know, I want to be all smiles. I want to be excited and grateful that I get to be here with you and do this, and then you know, get in my truck and go home and see my babies here in a little bit, and maybe get to catch Rhett's jiu-jitsu practice, and like, you just get to experience this, because there were a lot of times where I almost lost all that, and I was given the gift of being able to continue to do this. And so I'm going to do life. I'm going to do it with as much gratitude and joy that I can, because I just don't want to waste a second of it. You know, I'm too close to losing it all.
I admire that perspective. So we heard about your 2 amazing kids. What do you love most about your wife?
Man, I love how much she loves me. I mean, I think that that might sound selfish, but it's good to feel loved by somebody, you know? I can always count on her for that. Loyalty is like her number one trait. So, she would always be there. Like, Chris, I got to hide this body. She went, let's go. Yeah. Like, that is my wife. For me, if she came to me, I'd be like, I got to think about it for a second. Like, is that the right thing to do? But she would be like, I got the shovel. Let's go. She has the most beautiful way of connecting with people. She's fun. I mean, she's so much fun. And she's after the same things I'm after spiritually and in life. And, we've been together for 20 years now. And, we've just grown closer, right? Like, we get excited and laugh about the same stuff, and we get motivated by the same stuff, and the same stuff frustrates us. So we can kind of like be chummy about that too. But I think I love her love. That might be the best way to say it. And that, it makes sense, right? Like, you love the people that love you, and she loves me more than anybody else. So I think, and she's super talented too. I mean, she's got a lot of talent. She's very smart. She's very driven and capable in so many ways. And she's overcome a good bit of trauma in her life and produced massive results. And so she's a role model for a lot of these kids that we bring into our house, because she's been through some of that stuff. And I love her for that too. Just her grit.
Man, that's amazing. I met your wife, and I will attest you, she's an amazing woman. So one of the first times that you and I were interacting, we only just met. I went to a corporate battlefield. For those that don't know, about a half-day mastermind group. You're up front most of the time. She's there. So I'm watching you do your thing. We're talking very intentionally about leadership and frameworks and models. There's businessmen and women in the room. We're focused, we're dialed. And there was a break, and I was interacting with the two of you, and she was exactly as you described, lighthearted. She's kind of making like very loving little jabs at you, and we're laughing about it. And I sensed her deep love for you, and also really got to see and enjoy the lighthearted side. So
yeah, I mean, you tend to attract your opposite in a lot of ways. And if I married someone like me, man, we'd be productive. But that would be our calling card. I don't have a huge hunger to go out and just have a bunch of fun. I have a huge hunger to go out and produce. And not that my wife doesn't want production, but she has a huge hunger for fun. And so we just, man, when you slam that peanut butter and jelly together, it tastes pretty good. So she makes sure that I'm having fun, and I make sure that we can have fun. So it's a good team.
That's awesome.
You're in Aspen, or maybe Italy, and your phone pings with a freeze warning back in Austin. Panic? Nope. You have Loyal. We're already there, wrapping the pipes and checking the perimeter. Whether you're home or away, we are the eyes and ears of your estate. Global freedom, local support.
Well, you very clearly have an identity as a leader. Can you remember when you first knew that you were a leader?
I'm the oldest of three brothers. And so day one, I was a leader just by design of my family. I'm still pretty introverted. I love people, but I don't need people. And so I think growing up with team sports, because I love people, I wanted everybody to be successful. But because I didn't need people, I was willing to make the hard decisions, even in team sports at a young level. And so the coaches put me in positions to be a leader on the field, because not only would I call the plays and put people in position, but if someone didn't do their job, I would grab their shirt collar because, I was after a championship and they weren't doing their job. And so I was willing to hold people accountable because I love them and I didn't like need their approval. So like my wife, she's super outgoing. When she wakes up in the morning, she needs people to approve of her. And so she's scared. Scared might not be the right word, but she's very aware of tough decisions, and they're hard for her if it's going to affect someone else's energy. And I think leaders are a unique blend of people that love people, but are also, leaning toward task a little bit, right? Because if the plane doesn't fly, then it doesn't matter how good the stewardess are at taking care of the passengers, right? And so someone has to make sure that the plane flies. And I've just always been of that mindset. And it, put me in roles for being team captain on all the sports that I played on. And then naturally, when I went to West Point, they taught me how to be a proper leader. And then I got to practice it in the military as an officer. So I think born as the oldest of three brothers, played team sports my whole life, and then a little bit of like God's just direction in my behavioral profile in general kind of took me in that direction.
I'm thinking about you growing up in sports and older folks, maybe coaches or parents, seeing your ability to hold that role of leader and seeing that you could carry authority. How did you get the guys on the team to follow you?
Well, I think it's first of like, well, follow me, right? Nobody, I shouldn't say nobody. It's very hard for someone to follow a peer if they're not doing it, if they're not giving it all they have.
Model it.
Yeah. And so I was always willing to go out and just give it all I had. Yeah. I emptied the tank. If we're just talking about sports, I emptied the tank every game. I played football and baseball. In football, the day after the game, I could barely walk because I went for the W and I emptied my tank. And I think when you're that person, you don't have to be the fastest or the most talented. You do have to show that you're giving it all that you have. Because that is the standard. The standard is not that we're all LeBron James. The standard is that we give it all we have every time. It's easier to go tell somebody, do your job, when you've made it a point to not only give it all you have on your effort, but you made it a point behind the scenes to learn the playbook, learn your job, study the competition. I gave it all I had physically, but I gave it all I had mentally too, to know my job. So I had a certain level of competency and I had a certain level of effort that once you saw all of that, and then I was mentally and physically capable somewhat, we're like, all right, well, I'll follow that guy. And he cares about me. People don't care until they know you care about them. So I cared about them too. So I think it's hard to teach that to kids, right? I crave that for my kids more than anything because I shouldn't say I know. I see potential in them, and I'm their father, so I see like max tilt potential in both of them. And I'm like, oh yeah, you're gonna go be a leader. But I could teach them the skills of leadership, but I'm not gonna make them a leader. Like they're either gonna rise to the occasion or they won't. And we can get better over time, but I was a natural, I think I just was naturally a leader. It just came to me.
I'm smiling because I'm thinking about my childhood. I'm a fellow oldest child, 2 younger siblings.
Yeah.
And I remember, as a young guy, in moments of me misbehaving, my dad would come up, and this was maybe before the punishment, and he'd put his hand on my shoulder and say, Austin, lead by example.
Yeah. Because
what he was seeing is me misbehaving in front of my siblings.
Yeah.
And I didn't receive that message at the time, but I remembered it.
Yeah.
And I still remember it. And it's a powerful principle that you're exemplifying right now in these stories.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'd say very similar things to my daughter because she's the oldest. And I said, be the leader. So I don't want to be the leader. I'm like, well, you didn't get to make that choice, did you? You're the leader. So rise to the occasion. And there's tears because she knows, like in my house, we talk about it. So she knows what the standard of leadership is. I don't want to be the leader, Dad. I didn't want that. I didn't ask for that. I'm like, well, you got it though. And so lead this family. Be a leader in this family. You are one. So, yeah, a lot of the same talk.
Well, you are a very intentional leader. I mean, I think about how you pour into your people in a work context, and you're also very much a models and a systems guy. When I hear you talk about leadership, it's a lot of conversation about these different tools that have served you. Yeah. I'd love for you to maybe unpack like that concept for people, models and systems, and then maybe if there's a couple that have really informed your leadership that you want to share that come to mind.
Yeah, I think first it's important to know what your definition of leadership is. And so I kind of like a little bit of John Maxwell's definition in that, leadership is influence. And then I like Gary Keller's definition of leadership. And he says a leader teaches people how to think so that they can get what they want, so he gets what he wants. And so Gary sounds just a little selfish to me because it comes back to like what you want as a leader. But I do like the thinking part. And so I see leadership as, serving others in teaching them how to think so that the team gets what it wants. And the only way that you can get someone to tune into to what you want them to think like is to have influence. And so to have influence, a part of your life has to be something that the person following you craves. And so it doesn't have to be 100% professional, although in a professional setting, you would hope that someone would want what you want somewhat professionally. But it can be spiritually, it could be physically, it could be in your family, right? Like I follow Schuyler because I think he's a good father and I want to learn from him in that way. But there's something in your life that those who choose to follow you, they crave, they want a part of that. And that's why they'll give you their influence. And then you just teach them how to think. And so that's your job as the leader, is to teach them how to think so that this thing moves quick and in the direction that we want. And so the reason why I tell you my definition of leadership and the reason why I push on the thinking part of it so much is because now you understand that models are important, because I believe to teach someone something, a model is a much easier way to understand it, quickly. And so I can show you on paper, the model that we're going to try to implement in our business, or the model of how to think through a problem, or the model for a meeting or whatever, right? And you get this model and you're like, okay, well, I understand it. I understand what a productive meeting looks like now because of this model. Or I understand what a productive goal setting, session looks like because of this model. Or I understand how to plan effectively now because of this model. I understand how to do a one-on-one with someone because of this model. Like, I harp on the models because it makes it easy for someone to comprehend how to do something really well. And, I think Tony Robbins was the one, or maybe it was Jim Rohn, or maybe both of them, because I think they worked together for a while. But they used to say, I'm where I'm at today because I stand on the shoulders of giants. And really what they were saying is all these people that came before us showed us how to do things. And we get to choose to start where they're at and go up from there. And that is a models conversation, is, well, what does Tony Robbins do really well in growing his businesses? Well, why don't I just start with that and then grow from there? Makes sense. And so that's why I read so much, because I'm hungry for your model for client success. Well, I'm going to start with your model. I'm going to apply it to what makes us special as a company and tweak it for that. But I'm starting with your model first because you've already proven it to be successful. And then I'm going to go from there. So I would say a business model that's pretty foundational for us is the Entrepreneurial Operating System, EOS, kind of coined by Gino Wickman in the book Traction. We run our business by EOS, and it sounds like I'm a super structured person, but I'm really not.
Oh, I don't buy that for a minute.
I'm a smart person that understands the value structure can bring. And so I look for things like EOS to keep me looking and acting structured, even though I really love to be entrepreneurial. I love speed and I love creativity. But at some point your business can't afford for you to just be fast and creative. It has to transition to an adult and have systems and processes. And that's where models kind of get your arms around. And some people will be stressed out if you don't give them those to run with. And so EOS has really helped us put structure around our business so that whether you're entrepreneurial, you can be controlled, or you're someone that's very administratively needy, it creates structure. And so all types of people can operate in that. And we've been blessed by it. And if you don't know that, I'd go buy the book Traction. I think it's probably 200 pages long. You read it in a week. Go buy the book Traction and check it out.
I need to read that. I've heard a lot of good endorsements about that.
Yeah, it's a good book.
You wouldn't take a Ferrari to a quick lube. So why are you managing your estate with a magnet on the fridge? Your home is an asset. Treat it with dignity. Loyal Home Concierge provides white glove stewardship for Austin's most discerning homes. Proactive care. Absolute discretion your investment deserves.
You shared some really helpful thoughts around what motivates people that were really helpful for me to hear in thinking about employees. Can you share that with us?
Well, first, I think what motivates people is largely dependent on what's in their life and what they've been taught is success, or taught what is happiness or joy or anything like that. Like my kids are going to think about success and happiness maybe different than some other kids, right? Because, my kids live with me and those kids live with someone else. So I think your life is going to create somewhat of what you're motivated by and what you're after. You had kind of out the side of your mouth said phones at the dinner table earlier. The biggest danger with technology is that the world tells our children what they should be motivated for and what they should be after. That's the biggest danger of what those little things can do, is because you quickly become the least of all the people that are talking to them. You become the least as the parent. And you just, to the extent that you can control that, you want to control it so that you can teach your children what's going to help them live a good life. But if you don't keep guardrails on it, Instagram or YouTube or you name it is going to teach our kids what they should be after, what they should look like, how they should think, how they should talk to other people, how much money they should have, all that stuff. I mean, the world is happy to tell you that. And so some people come to you and they've been told by the world what they should look like, what they should desire, how much money they should make and all this stuff, right? So there's less about you telling someone what they should be motivated for. It's more about discovery, right? Am I surrounding myself with people that are motivated by the same things that I'm motivated about? And I've got this process that I call a motivational interview. And what I do is I take a piece of paper and I just divide it into 4 equal sections. And I do this with every person that applies for our company. At the top of the page, I'll put professional and financial, because as their employer, those are the 2 parts of their life that I can really affect. And then I ask them for the 3rd and 4th sections, if you were to have the best 5 years of your life, not an average, the best 5 years of your life, what are the 2 big areas of your life that you have to have tremendous success? And a lot of young people will say family and then like travel or fun or entertainment, right? The kind of the older you get, the more things look like family or spiritual or health, right? Like the older you get, the more you're like, all right, I want to hang in there a little while longer. So they start to look at health. But you get those 4 big buckets, right? And then we go to professional and I say, okay, you're going to have the best 5 years of your life professionally. What are the 3 or 4 things that have to happen professionally for you to have the best 5 years of your life? And then you stop talking and you let the person that you're meeting with share with you what, if it was the best 5 years professionally, I would be doing these things. And you write those things down and you say, okay, best 5 years of your life professionally, you're doing this, this, and this. When you make those things happen, how do you feel? And they're going to say proud or successful or whatever it is, right? And then in that moment, you're going to know. And here's the thing. You could have said, well, what are your goals? And somebody smart would have prepared goals. I mean, it's an interview, right? They'd have prepared goals and they would deliver those to you. But those are prepared. They're telling you what you want to hear. These things, the things that would make their life the best 5 years professionally, these are what they're truly after. These are what they're truly motivated for. And the reason why they're motivated for those things is to feel the feeling that they told you. And so really everything we do is about feeling. Like we do everything because we want a feeling. We go make more money because we want to feel successful or stable or whatever, right? Everything we do is for a feeling. And so I know 2 things after doing this exercise. I know what they want professionally, and then I know ultimately what they want to feel like every day if they come to work for me. And so that either aligns with what I want in my business or it doesn't. And it doesn't make them a bad person if they're not aligned with what I have to offer. It just means we're not aligned. And so if you're after this and I can't provide that to you, then even though you could do the job well, and even though I like you, we can't work together because at some point there's going to be a rub there because you're going to pursue your best life and I can't give it to you. Now, when you go through the 4 quadrants and you just hear everything that you love and everything that you're planning for, you hear that in someone's motivational interview, you're like, all right, yeah, no, you're fired up because you're like, you know what? I'm going to teach you how to get what you want. I'm going to teach you. I'm going to create a business and I'm going to teach you and you're going to go and you're going to have this. Now, when you make as much money as you want, what does that mean the company's making? It means the company's making money. When you go and make all these achievements professionally that you want, what does it mean the company's doing? It's achieving. When you're happy in your family and you're spiritually or physically healthy or your family's and you're traveling and you're excited, do you think we're going to have a retention problem? No, it all works, man. And listen, so I use it as a recruiting tool. But you should do this with your business partners. You should do this with your spouse, right? Like most fights are missed expectations. They really are. Someone fights because they're hurt. And if you trace hurt all the way back, hurt is a missed expectation. And so if you just sat down with your spouse and you said like, babe, my best 5 years look like this right here. And she'd go, oh, well, that's surprising. I didn't know you wanted to do that. And you're like, that would make my life the best. If we could do that, that would make my life the best. And then at least your spouse has a choice. Like, you know what? Let's go do that. Let's make that happen. Or she gets to communicate with you that actually, I'm not aligned with you there. So we have to figure out how to make you happy or shift your expectation from this being something that your best life depends on to that ain't that important anymore. And that's either internal work that you're going to do or she better be persuasive in some way, right? But I remember like a good example of that is I wanted a ranch. I wanted enough land that I could walk all day and not see the same piece of land. And my wife sees no value in it. But she knew that it was like, I grew up pretty modest. Like we didn't have a whole lot. And so I just wanted, I think deep in my soul, I wanted something that was like that big, like I wanted that reminded me of my time in the military. It gave me just kind of a sense of like a place to escape and just release, and you know what? As soon as my wife found out that I wanted that, she was like, all right, well, let's go make it happen. And we made it happen. We would have never bought 200 acres if I didn't share that with her, because she would have never thought that. She would never thought that. Not in a million years. She'd rather spend that money going out to eat. She didn't need 200 acres. In fact, every time we go out there, I gotta like have a pep talk with her on the way there. Like, all right, yeah, this is the country. There might be a scorpion in the bathtub. Okay. There might be some dead bugs because we haven't been here in a while. There might be a mouse in the house, right? Like, this is the country. We might see a rattlesnake. Don't be afraid. They don't like you just as much as you don't like them. Like, I got to pep her up on the way there so that when we get there, we can have a good time. Because she's a city girl. But you see, but like you can see where I had to share my motivations with her so that she got to be a great spouse and help me make that happen. Otherwise, I might have been hurt by her lack of care for that. And she's not a mind reader. So I need to tell you, we need to communicate.
I love that exercise in the context of really any close relationship. You mentioned business partner, spouse, good friend, sibling, really anything. Yeah. Something that I really appreciate that's part of your process with your employees is you have them state what's in the quadrants and then get them present to the feeling. I would love to see a video of just like all the expressions on their face and their countenance when they get present to the feeling. I think that's such a powerful, like, solidifying moment of like, because we have a tendency here in the West to, live up here and kind of intellectualize it, or like, yeah, I can rattle off my goals, I got this, but to get present to the feeling, I think is so cool.
Well, that's where true motivation is. And a lot of people cry during this because they have to express that they don't feel financially safe, or that, I'm alone. Like I want to be married, or I want to have children and I don't have children yet. And so, in kind of going through this, which would be your best 5 years, people experience what they're missing and what would truly make them fulfilled. And when you, like, to your point, when you acknowledge that, it's powerful, enlightening, and sometimes very somber, because you didn't know you needed that until I asked you. And I just pulled it out of you. But now we can go work for it, right? Now we can go build together your best 5 years.
We've been talking a lot about how you lead and how that shows up. What are you leading right now? Tell us practically what you're up to. We've been keeping people in the dark.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm a father and a husband, so I start every day leading that, right? I lead myself. But my main business focus is my real estate sales company. We have a construction company also building in Central Austin. Now, we have a formal leader of that business. I'm just a part of it. I'm a partner in that business, and I'm the lead of sales. But he administratively and operationally leads that business. And then we have a laundromat that we franchised. And again, I have some people leading in that business, so I'm not, the business that depend on me to show up every day and lead it. But I'm a leader in my life. I call. It's funny. Everywhere I go, I'm calling people on my team to motivate and inspire, equip, train, whatever it may be. I'm making calls to my team to make sure that I'm doing my job as a leader. Even if I don't have the CEO role, I'm still going to lead, because I have a vision for these things. And not only do we have to communicate that vision, but we should always be looking for, who do I need to be as the leader so that they can be the people we need them to be to get the company to where it needs to go. Right? And on day one, you need to look a certain way. And on day two, you might need to look a different way as a leader. Right? And it's different every day, but your job as a leader is to wake up and say, well, who do they need me to be today so that they can be their best? And then I go be that person. Right? And so just as a parent, it's like, all right, well, some day dad needs to be strict. Some days dad needs to be a coach. Some days dad just needs to be a comforter. Right? All three are dad, all three are leader actions, and it just depends on the situation. But I need my children to be their best, and so I'm going to show up how they need me in that moment to be their best.
All these businesses are helping folks around a particular arena, where they live.
Yeah.
You're helping people build the home they want, maybe remodel the home that they purchased, buy the home, have clean clothes and linens in the home.
Yeah.
Tell me, what's your vision for maybe the city of Austin for healthy homes and healthy communities? What does that look like, or what could that look like?
I can't help but to go right where we started and say, well, what would it look like if everyone loved everyone, right? And if everyone didn't try to be right, if they just tried to be helpful to one another, like what would it look like if we were to do that? For me, I hurt for the homeless people. Again, I'm a veteran. I know there's a lot of veteran homeless folks out there. We're very into the foster network. There's a lot of foster children that just age out of the system and become homeless. We have mentally ill people in our family, and there's a lot of mentally ill people. I don't have the silver bullet to solve the homeless situation. But I think that if we were just like, what's best case scenario? I think we would work on that. And then we would work on ways to set the battlefield conditions for love to just foster as much as possible, But, people need structure. I mean, they really need structure. So I'm not saying we like get rid of a bunch of rules and we just go out and we just kind of like, peace, love, and harmony. I think we need structure. I think we need leadership. We just need the right type of leaders. And I think the right type of leaders will put pressure on the right types of systems that will kind of, work its way from the base all the way up. Listen, city management has never been anything that I've studied or really been in control of. Really what I would do is say, okay, well, what's our vision? Right? And to me, vision is, if it's done well in the end, this is what it looks like. So what is the vision of a successful, loving, productive community? And I say, okay, well, here we are now. That's where we want to be. Well, let's backwards plan to today. What are the big rocks that we have to accomplish in the next 90 days to move in that direction? And so we'll fight for 90 days to accomplish those big rocks. And then at 90 days, we'll look at the progress we made and say, okay, well, we still want that vision? Yeah. All right. Well, what are the next 3 big rocks that we have to knock out in the next 90 days? And we just keep doing that. And you just keep making progress. Identify leaders along the way, put them in position of authority, support them, train them, equip them. And it just happens. Yeah, I know that's not a very detailed answer for you, but it's
no, that's a powerful charge and a powerful encouragement to folks, and hopefully a call to action for the leaders locally. Like, I want to see this city thrive as much as it possibly can, and so I appreciate that encouragement to folks.
Yeah, we all want to be the best. Everybody wants to be productive. Everybody wants to be happy. And everyone wants to be proud of where they are, like where they live. So if everybody wants that, then what's holding us back? And let's go crush those bottlenecks. And so the thing is, it's either a lack of system or the wrong person that's holding us back. That's all. I mean, it's really that simple, right? Who do we have in the wrong seat, right? I mean, Good to Great was a great book to just say, like, there are capable people in the wrong seats. So who do we have that are in the wrong seats? And then what systems are we missing? And let's go fix those things. And I mean, people want it to be the best. People in Austin want Austin to be the best. People want their neighborhood to be the best. People want their house to be the best. People want these things. So if they want it, where are the bottlenecks, man? Let's just crush those. That's what a leader does. Let's crush those bottlenecks and let's give the people what they want.
We got to break out that piece of paper and draw the quadrants and, start mapping it out with that.
Totally.
Well, that's a great message to end on and leave folks with. But before we close our conversation today, anything else you want to share with folks? Maybe a recent highlight, how to find you, an encouragement?
Yeah, I mean, you can follow me on LinkedIn. My name, I think I'm the only one spelled Schuyler Williamson in Austin the way I spell it. So you can follow me on LinkedIn if you're not a big reader and you just want the journal entries. But you can go to schuylerwilliamson.com and see everything that we're doing. You can buy the book. I wrote a book, The Steady Leader. We put that out in 2025. So you go check that out. And certainly anything real estate related. I'm a guy here in Austin. Yeah, I'd love to just help you. Whether that turns into compensation for me or not, that to me matters less. I just want to help people.
Thank you. Well, thank you for the time today, Schuyler. Yeah, we enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was my pleasure. I'm grateful to be here.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Austin Community Capital. This show is a celebration of the spirit of Austin, Texas, honoring our past, engaging our present, and building our future together. If this conversation sparked something in you, a new idea, a feeling of connection, or just a good laugh, pass it on. Share this episode with a fellow Austinite or a loved one who needs to hear it. Let's keep weaving this fabric of community together. This show is proudly presented by Loyal Home Concierge. At Loyal, we believe that a healthy, thriving city starts within the four walls of your home. We are passionate about supporting overextended executives, the moms and dads who do it all, and the couples who take life by storm. Because we know that when your home life is supported, you are free to support the ones who matter most.
Your kids, your wife.
Whether you need a proactive manager for your home or a creative problem solver for your next big adventure, we are here to help you design a life of intention. LoyalHomeConcierge.com. Let's make life a little more beautiful together. Stay loyal to your community, and we'll see you next time.